Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Thursday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. I've always wanted to do this. Hello, friends. A tradition unlike any other. As you can see on the screen here, we are in a weather delay in Augusta National, and it's probably going to be a weather delay all week long. So before we talk golf, which I was ready to hunker down today and watch some golf, but weather delay probably until about 1 o'clock, they say. We're going to talk college football with our good friend Brent Beaird. Second portion of the program, we're going to start our Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. But let's go straight to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by our good friend Brent Beaird over in Jax, who is a Heisman Trophy voter. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Doing well. Shane, we're just kind of watching the weather like everyone else. We got a little bit of wind and rain, and but the storm on the radar has basically already moved off the coast, or a lot of it has. So hopefully by around noon, everybody will be fine. But the great news is this time next week is going to be in the 40s. So I think we can all use some of that.
There's no question about that. That will be quite a transition. Brent, before we talk SEC, what's going on in the league? The NCAA came out with they're going to extend the dead period. Can you keep people up to date on what all that means?
Yeah, this just came out yesterday. It's the Football Oversight Committee has recommended, so it's a recommendation right now, that the dead period be extended another 3.5 months to April the 15th. That date has been changed several times. The current deadline right now is January the 1st, and they've got a meeting coming up on November the 18th. That they will probably rubber stamp it at that point. The dead period is when coaches cannot meet face-to-face with recruits. It was started in March, obviously, and then it has been extended several times. So now that does mean that coaches don't interact with recruits because they're able to do that with Zoom. The other interesting thing that's come out of this is the American Football Coach Association, with Todd Berry as their executive director, is suggesting that they include parents to interact on Zoom and compare some notes in the recruiting process. Now, I know coaches don't like this, and probably players and families, because they're not meeting face-to-face, although it's probably saving the schools a lot of money. At this point, they're having to do their research, too. But, Shane, it leads to the question that everybody's going to be asking is, what about the early signing period? Now, we've heard nothing about the early signing period either being taken away or delayed. And to put that in perspective, basically the early signing period is around a month from today. So, I mean, it's about a 3-day period around the middle of December where recruits can sign early. It basically was a time to where junior college players could sign. Now we've added basically everybody else at this point, too. And by the way, speaking of recruiting, just to throw this in here, one of the recruiting rankings, just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Florida is 7th, Miami is 13th, FSU is 21st in the recruiting ranking. So, but for our conversation, again, the dead period's been extended, or very well could be extended if the committee has their way.
Yep. Brent, before we get into the SEC, and a lot of SEC games have been canceled, let's talk a little national perspective. BYU hammered Boise, a ranked team, the other night. They are a really good football team with a phenomenal kid at quarterback.
Yeah, Zach Wilson is, speaking of Heisman Trophy contenders, Zach Wilson should be included in that group too. Now, BYU's having a great year, frankly. I mean, they've beaten Navy, Troy, Louisiana Tech. They beat Houston as their biggest win. Texas State, Western Kentucky. They beat Boise the other night. A lot of people probably saw that, 51-17. They've got one more game coming up on the 21st, and that's going to be UNA, which is North Alabama, in Florence, Alabama. That's where my twin brother does sports radio up there. So the question is going to be, it would be great if BYU could get in the playoffs, but their schedule probably will not allow that, and the committee would not pick them to be in it. So hopefully they'll be able to get in one of the major bowls. But you're right. BYU, you want to see an offensive machine and a really good quarterback. I'm curious if you've seen him, Shane, but they're really good.
I've seen him since he was a freshman. I fell in love with the kid as a freshman. Last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, one of the years he got banged up, broke a hand or something,
right.
So he missed quite a bit of time. But he is so athletic and he can make all the throws. The thing he reminds me, now this could be a crazy comparison, and it kind of is. He's got Patrick Mahomes type delivery.
Yeah, he does.
Can make his arm slot. He can do all the throws. He's got great mobility. Can really run the football. So I think he's going to be a phenomenal pro if he goes to the right system. So the other team that kind of flies under the radar because they're not a Power 5 team are the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah, Luke Fickell's done a really good job with this team, and they've got an offense that is not BYU-like necessarily. Desmond Ridder ran for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns, and has 300 yards rushing in the last 3 games. They're undefeated. They have got Eastern Carolina, UCF, which should be a really good game, and Temple remaining on the schedule. So again, like BYU, a lot of people are thinking, well, if we had an expanded playoff, maybe a non-Power 5 team like a Cincinnati could get in there. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen this year. But hopefully the playoff is going to be expanded to where a non-Power 5 can get in there sooner than later.
Yep. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan MR hotline. Brent, Big Ten real quick. The story out of the Big Ten right now has got to be the Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan Wolverines. How much trouble is Jim Harbaugh in?
Well, I think he's in a decent amount of trouble as far as just the frustration that they've got right now. I mean, even Don Brown, who's considered a defensive genius, their D coordinator, is struggling. They've given up 300-plus yard passing for the 4th time in 5 games. And it's not so much that Don Brown's forgotten how to coach. This year just has not worked for them at all. They continue to lose to their rivals during this year. So it's and look, we haven't even gotten to the Ohio State game yet as far as Michigan is concerned. Harbaugh's contract, Shane, either runs out at the end of this year or next year. So the point of that is there's probably not going to be much of a buyout involved here since he's at the end of the contract. So there is some thought that he may just quietly go back to the NFL or some similar situation to that if they want to cut ties in a COVID year. But it's pretty safe to say right now that things are not working out at all at Michigan.
Not at all. We got a text here for you, Brent, on the Titan MR text line. It comes from William. William wants to know, with Liberty's success being 7-0 this year, will someone hire Hugh Freeze away from Liberty?
Well, the thing that really happened yesterday, for what it's worth, is that Hugh Freeze was given an extension to 2026. So, I mean, he is the hot name that's out there. particularly maybe for South Carolina if they want to make a move with Muschamp. We can get into that in a minute too. But I mean, Freeze has done a really good job at Liberty. And by the way, the Liberty quarterback is Malik Willis, who used to be at Auburn, if that name sounds familiar. So, but Freeze. Now here's the other thing here too. I don't know how much of a obligation Freeze feels to Liberty. Liberty took a chance on him, and Shane, you may know more about this than a lot of us do, but Liberty has really invested into their facilities, and what I've been told is their facilities are on a Division I level. So he may want to hang in another year with them, particularly with the team that he's got, and all those kids coming back. But there's no question that Freeze's name will be out there. Now, the question is, he will have to have a sit-down with Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, if he wants to get back in with the baggage that he's had in the past. But again, the SEC's let other folks in with similar situations. So, William, that's a good question. We'll continue to follow that. But he was given an extension yesterday.
Yeah, Liberty's facilities are better than ours right now. Now, once we get our facility built, that will change. Yes. But they have phenomenal facilities up there. Okay, let's get into the SEC, Brent. A lot of games have been canceled this week. Florida LSU is supposed to be played that makeup game the week before the SEC championship game, but Alabama has nothing scheduled there. How can they make the Gators play and have the Crimson Tide have a bye week, or is this all going to be a wash when it's all said and done?
I don't think the league's going to do that. I think one or two things are going to happen there. And one could be the simple fact that Florida and LSU don't play. The reality of it is LSU's had so much COVID turnover, internal strife that they really don't want to play. And the recruiting, as we talked earlier, is it's so intense in this league that the last thing Ed Orgeron wants is for LSU to look bad on the field and other rival coaches get into that. So, but for your question, I think one or two things are going to happen. They're either going to drop that game with LSU, and then both Bama and Florida will have a week off for the SEC championship game, or they're going to rearrange the schedule where Alabama actually plays someone on that same day as Florida does. No, I don't think the league would allow Alabama to have an advantage like that. And by the way, if people missed this yesterday, on the 19th, the day of the SEC championship game, there are the league has they're certainly talking about it, and they're very close to making this happen. Is have other games that need to be made up to be played on that day. So that means you would have some, for lack of a better word, regular season games that were not played to be played on the same day as the SEC championship game. How wild will that be, Shane?
Yeah, pretty crazy, no doubt about it. Let's talk about the Gators. Big win over Georgia. I thought it was Coach Mullen and his staff's best job they've done from a game plan standpoint. Just talk a little bit about what you saw in that game and the Gators moving forward.
It was a tremendous win. There's no question about that. I mean, Kyle Trask, the graphic of 4 touchdown passes in 5 straight games, that has never been accomplished. Right now when Trask plays, it's basically historical in it, Shane. Yeah. With everything that he does. Basically a 70% passer. Touchdown to interception ratio is just frankly off the charts. They had 8 completions for 217 yards on the wheel route. Yep. They basically reinvented the wheel route, didn't they, Shane?
They did. Their plan was to attack with the wheel route. Knew Georgia would have trouble with it, and man, did it come. It really, really worked out well. Brent, let me ask you this. Since you are a Heisman Trophy voter, and I'm not sure, you guys, I don't think are supposed to talk about who you're going to vote for, but like if you had to vote today, give us your top three. Can you do that?
Well, yeah. See, when we're not supposed to talk is after we put the vote in. Now, and again, I've never understood that, but that's the rule, and we're abiding by it. Now, I mean, I would have originally had Trevor Lawrence in there, and he probably will be, but I mean, he's missed 2 games. How much is that going to hurt him? Justin Fields has really just got going. So, I mean, right now, for me, my top 2 would probably be, and I'll add a third here, would be Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, and to me, I don't think he'll win. But we talked about Zach Wilson. I mean, Shane, in my mind, Zach Wilson deserves to go to New York as one of the 5.
Yeah, no doubt about that. How do you see this Florida-Arkansas game? I mean, Arkansas is the story of the league. You know, Sam Pittman's not going to make the trip, but he should probably be the coach of the year in the league, regardless of what they do the rest of the year. I personally don't think Arkansas stands a chance. I know they're going to rush 3, drop 8 into coverage, but Trask is very patient and accurate. He's going to dink and dunk our way down the field. I think Florida rolls in this game, and maybe I'm crazy. How do you see it playing out?
Well, I think it's a maturity game for Florida, and when you get a win like that, and you pretty well are thinking, well, we've got reservations in Atlanta for the championship game. This is a well-coached football team, and Barry Odom, who used to coach at Missouri, will be taking over for Sam Pittman. What Arkansas does well is they're +8 in turnover margin. And they've only allowed 300 yards passing once this year. I think that changes Saturday night. But they've got some pretty good running backs, Traylon Smith and Rakeem Boyd. Obviously, Felipe Franks comes back. Now, he's been sacked 18 times this year, and I think they'll add to that. Traylon Burks is a pretty good wide receiver along with Mike Woods. Grant Morgan, who their linebacker, leads the league and tackles. Bumper Pool is another linebacker is right behind him. To give you a great example of how their season has changed, they beat Tennessee last week, and they were down double digits at halftime. They won by double digits. That's the first time they had done that since 1998 against South Carolina. I'm with you. Florida wins. I think they win comfortably. But Arkansas will be a well-coached team. They'll be in position to make plays. Whether they can do that or not remains to be seen. But, for instance, Grant Morgan, who leads the league in tackles, is a walk-on and will get a scholarship later. But Shane, that tells you what they have done with the talent that they have got, which has been phenomenal. And one thing I really hope will happen, and I think it will, is that the crowd will greet Felipe Franks well. He's still, I think, friends with a lot of guys on the team and the coaching staff and so forth. So that will be interesting to see, too.
No doubt. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with the vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. November is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. A few more minutes here with Brent Beaird on the Titan More Hotline. Brent, we're not even going to discuss Kentucky and Vandy. Who cares about that game? But South Carolina has to play Ole Miss. They're coming off of just two back-to-back games. They were just horrible, South Carolina. Ole Miss coming off a bye week. I don't know if South Carolina's going to make a quarterback change or what, but I just see Ole Miss getting another win here.
Oh, yeah, because but frankly, South Carolina just can't score that many points. And there were a lot of rumors starting on Sunday about Will Muschamp being replaced by Mike Bobo. There's nothing that's going on with that yet as far as official. Remember, there's still a $14 million buyout for Will Muschamp. And again, South Carolina's got some talent. I mean, Ernest Jones is a good linebacker with that. But the defense for South Carolina, they've allowed over 200 yards rushing in each of their last 3 games. So that's a problem. As you mentioned, not sure who the quarterback's going to be. Will it be Colin Hill again? That's up in the air. But again, Ole Miss's defense is terrible. Their offense is one of the best in the league. So I'm with you. I think Ole Miss goes to 3-4.
Yep, no doubt. Brent, before we let you go here, got any nuggets for us? I know a lot of stuff's happening up in Tallahassee with the semis.
Yeah, it really has. And they've got they play NC State. Marvin Wilson, Tamarian Terry, James Blackman, Devontae Love Taylor are all basically either injured and gone for the year, or they're now off the roster. They're 2-5. They're on the verge of their third straight losing season, which is difficult. Jarrett Jackson, some good news from Louisville, has been granted an immediate transfer at that point. And by the way, speaking of life's ironies, the NC State quarterback is Bailey Hawkman, who used to be on the Florida State team. And just real quick, Miami at Virginia Tech. Derek King has really proven to be very good. And speaking of Liberty beat Virginia Tech last week, primarily on the last play of the game. Right before that, Justin Fuentes called a timeout. Liberty kicker missed a field goal. After the timeout, the Liberty kicker got the field goal. So you can imagine what that's been like for Virginia Tech. And frankly, I mean, Shane, Miami could really end up with a pretty good season with the schedule they've got left.
It's crazy. I don't think they're a great football team, but they're finding ways to win games. And, with the way the season's going, they're ranked in the top 10, believe it or not. And
they are.
It's strange.
And let me mention real quick, LeBron Ray, the defensive lineman in Alabama, has come back to practice. Miles Brennan, the LSU quarterback, is basically on the shelf for the rest of the year. So it may not be a whole lot of games, but there's a lot going on in the league.
No doubt about it. Well, Brent, good stuff as always. Y'all stay safe up there in Jackson. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Can't wait, pal. Take care.
Yep, that's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Our play of the day is brought to you by our new friends at Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchase, which is a $199 value. Our service department is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. This day in sports, actually last year, 2019, former Houston Astros Major League pitcher Mike Fiers reveals the team secretly, quote, stole signs via camera from visiting teams from 2015 to 2017 between opposing pitchers and catchers, intercepting and relayed to Astro batters. I know everybody knows that was a big deal about the Astros winning the World Series, but all that happened last year, and that's brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Tent. We're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we're going to crank up the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
Hey, Gator Nation, this is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Pomodoro Cafe, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
We're now joined by Mark Whittemore, head football coach of the Buchholz Bobcats. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. Great to see you, Shane.
Yep. Coach, playoffs have started. You get to play Creekside again. You played them a couple of weeks ago in the regular season at their ballpark. Beat them pretty handily. Not that matters. How do they look on tape?
Honestly, they're one of the best looking defenses in 7A. We were fortunate to have some special team scores and a defensive score. So the outcome of the game a couple weeks ago, it can be a little misleading. They've got two really big outside backers. They've got a 6'4", 280-pound Division I type, nose. They can really, really come after you defensively. And they've got a 1,000-yard plus rusher in the backfield offensively. So believe me, we're going to have our hands full this Friday night. This is the best team that Creekside has had in their 10-year history, or 15-year history, however long they've been over there on that part of St. Johns County. And their kids play hard. So put all that together, and we're nervous as a bunch of cats, and a room full of rocking chairs, as you can imagine.
So Coach, it's been a crazy year. Y'all have had a dang good year. You lost your opener to Oakley, which is a really good football program every year. You pleased with how the season's progressed?
I am. I really am. I couldn't be more pleased with the way that the kids have taken coaching, the way we responded. Honestly, we played a classic game, lost that, didn't score a point. Then, played Oak Leaf, struggled in that game in the second half. We were kind of just not clicking offensively. Then we lost our starting quarterback. So, really to come back from that and to be as efficient as we have offensively and to play the defense that we played, hey, I couldn't be more pleased. With the exception of losing our QB, we've been able to, to really play clean football, and now looks like he's going to be back at least playing a position. He's not going to be able to throw, but he's a big old body, so we're going to try to get him on the field.
So obviously, we don't know. I mean, y'all are planning to play Friday night at Citizens Field. We got this hurricane supposedly coming through Gainesville. Everything's all set still to play Friday night, correct?
Yeah. I mean, last I heard 30 minutes ago, school's canceled on Thursday, but has not been for Friday. All indications are from, radar and weather.com that we should be okay Friday. So we're going to practice this afternoon and get ready for that game.
And I thought I saw somewhere where Gainesville High and Eastside and Buchholz all are hosting first round games, correct?
Yeah. So Eastside's hosting, Gainesville's hosting, we're hosting. So how they kind of, so Eastside's kind of they're going to be in a predicament because, they play tomorrow night there at Citizens Field. So I'm assuming that game is going to get pushed back to some point, whether that's a Saturday tilt or Monday. So Eastside's going to be in a jam. Gainesville High is playing at Santa Fe High School, which, okay. We've done that in the past here in this county. Use Santa Fe's field when Citizens is all jammed up.
So I know we don't want to look ahead, but I'm going to ask you anyway. The winner of Creekside Buchholz, who's the next round?
Okay, so it's going to be Navarre. So, they had a bye. And if you'll remember, this is a play-in game. Not playing in because we're not very good, but just playing in because that's the way the draw occurred, which, with this COVID, it was a blind draw. So we drew Creekside. Both of us, if winning, have to travel to Navarre, which is 5 hours away for both of us. So that's going to be an interesting trip. Not unheard of. We've traveled out to Pensacola before, but it definitely adds to the to the drama.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here. Good luck to the Bobcats, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week after a big win.
Look forward to it, Shane. Thanks again.
Yep. Take care, Mark.
Thank you for joining Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We're now joined by Newberry head football coach Edward Johnson here on the Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. How are you, Shane?
Can't complain, Coach. Well, the regular season's over. Y'all survived. You got 8 games in. You ended up 7-1. Briefly, just tell me how the season went.
A lot of uncertainty, just with COVID going through the season. But, kids are resilient, so they kind of handled it well. Lost that first one, and we were fortunate enough to run 7 off in a row. We're fairly healthy going into the playoffs, so we feel like we're in a good spot.
And you want to say tomorrow night you got Trenton, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, big rivalry game. Y'all know each other very, very well. They're I don't want to say they're down a little bit this year, but not the normal Trenton, kind of rebuilding a very young program. What have you seen on tape from Trenton?
On tape and up close and personal, they're tough. They're a very physical team. I think Coach Wiles does a good job of getting the most out of his guys. They have a really dynamic quarterback, and they're going to try to pound it. 3 yards in a cloud of dust all night. So we got to make sure we're tackling the fullback.
Yeah. So what do you think offensively? Your son's the quarterback, good runner, good thrower. Can you attack them in the passing game, you think?
We feel like we can. We like our receivers, out on the outside. And as long as Makai makes good choices with the ball, we use his feet a little bit to open up things. And we feel like we can take advantage of those opportunities.
So how much, y'all played them earlier in the season, beat them in Newberry, I believe. I want to say it was a pretty close game for a while. Trenton had some opportunities, went for some 4th downs and didn't convert them. What do you think you can take from that game into this playoff game?
The biggest thing is to not overlook them. Don't play their record. We know they're going to be ready to go. And we know, we're going to have to play for 4 quarters.
The winner of this game, who's the next matchup?
The winner of Wildwood and Bronson.
Okay, and Wildwood's a pretty good program, right? Don't they?
Yeah.
They got a pretty high-powered offense, I believe.
Yeah, they've been scoring a lot of points this year. Yeah.
And I get so confused because y'all are now 1A, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, and pretty much the dominant team in 1A is Madison County, right?
Madison is the king of 1A. Yes, no doubt about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time all season long. Join us. Hopefully, the Panthers get a big win. We'll have you back on. But good luck to y'all tomorrow night.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Shane.
High School Roundup Thursdays brought to you by Baker Sporting Goods.
We're now joined on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup, Coach R.J. Fuhr from the Oak Hall Eagles. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, it's been a magical year for Oak Hall and their first year 8-man football. Saturday night, y'all play for a state championship. What's that feel like?
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, we after practice last night, talked to the kids about it, just trying to really, I spoke to them about our seniors and that we need to send them out, as state champions. These 3 seniors that we have. Andrew Pickens has literally, we call him a lifer. I think I may have mentioned that to you last time. He's been here since K3. A kid that, was one of our leading receivers last year and just very selfless and running the show at quarterback and the single wing. So we couldn't have, gone further from what we were running. But, Brian Story, a kid that started playing in 6th grade, one of our captains as well, starting right guard. And then Jake Gill, who's really our fastest guy on the team, he got hurt right before the game started, right before our first game. And so, we'll have him back, which is huge. So yeah, it's good. We're excited.
Game Saturday in Lakeland, you're playing All Saints Academy. Where are they from?
Winter Haven, so it's close to them. I'm trying to encourage as many of our fans and students to to make the trip to Lakeland, because they're definitely gonna fill the stands there at Bryant Stadium.
How does All Saints look on tape?
Very good. We played them earlier in the year. We actually beat them at their place 20-13. It was a dogfight. They have their left tackle is 6'1", 280. Their right tackle is 6'6", 305. They have a kid, defensive lineman. He's a undersized defensive lineman, but really for this league, he's not undersized. He's about 6'2", 220. He's a handful. He can take over a game. So we'll definitely have our hands full, but we're pretty excited about it. We feel pretty good. Kind of keeping an eye on this storm here, though. It's could affect us practice-wise.
Is All Saints a school that's been playing 8-man football for a long time, or are they just like y'all?
Just like us. They've been playing 11-man. Now they've been in the Sunshine State Athletic Conference. I believe they played in the state championship 11-man last year against Canterbury School from Fort Myers. So they've been 11-man as well. They still have a roster of about 25 or so. So they have 9 seniors too, which is huge. You know, this group has played in some big games in 11-man, so it's going to be a test.
So I'm pretty sure Oak Hall has won state championships in country club sports, I like to call them, you know, the cross country, tennis, golf, that kind of stuff. But this will be the first time Oak Hall's ever played for a state championship in football, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So in 2016, when we were in the North Florida Football Conference, we were not part of the FHSA. We won that conference championship. We went undefeated, 10-0. Coach DiBernardo was our head coach. I was actually the defensive coordinator. We had a group of I think it was 13 or 14 seniors that year in 2016. So we have won a conference championship, but yes, this will be the first state championship if we win it for the school.
Well, that's awesome, Coach. We wish y'all a lot of luck. We appreciate you joining us a couple of times this year on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup, and good luck to the Eagles, and y'all bring that championship back home.
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup.
We're now joined by Coach Russell Hawley, head football coach of the Bronson Eagles. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Shane. How you doing, man?
Coach, is that a Christmas tree I see in the background?
It is a Christmas tree. I think I told you my daughter is an actress, and she's been going back and forth to Orlando. And we decided that my wife said, we're going to go ahead and put this stuff up early. So she started putting things up at the beginning of the week because the show's running until right before Christmas. So she's going to be in and out of town most of the time. So
that's awesome.
So we put the tree up.
Well, Coach, Bronson, y'all won last week. Y'all beat Crescent City. It was the first playoff win in school history. Talk a little bit about that game.
Well, you know, we won the game 38-8, and we were really well prepared. Our defense played really well. We actually scored twice on defense and recovered a fumble inside their 1. So really, we almost scored 3 times on defense. And you know, our kids have just really bought into it, and our kids were prepared and they played well. Again, defensively, we have played so much better. Our tackling has improved so much since the beginning of the year, and even since last year I was a defense coordinator, and then I took over this year. And so, you know, we've just gotten better each week. And Crescent City, you know, they are kind of down this year, but in the same sense, I'm not going to take anything away from our kids.
No doubt about it. As you said, it was first playoff win, I believe, since 2002. Y'all went 6-4 in the regular season. Just talk about how proud you are of your football team.
Well, I can't, you know, say enough about our coaches and our administration has really bought in. Our principal, our AD, are all behind us. and the kids see that. And they were so excited. I mean, I've been part of state championship teams at different schools that I've been. And I told someone over the weekend that the excitement that our kids had rivaled that of winning a state championship game, because they were really excited and they were really focused on being the first to win a playoff game ever in the school's history. The last time we were there in the playoffs was 2002. I think a couple of my seniors were 2 months old. And they had never won a playoff game in 69 years of playing football. And so our kids were really focused on, hey, why not us? Let's be the first. And they just went out. It was 14-8 at halftime. And then in the second half, we just really did a really good job.
That's awesome. So, Coach, you got a tough task Friday night. Wildwood's a really good team. I don't know much about them. I do know they're pretty explosive on offense. Is that y'all got to slow them down? Is there any way you can do that?
Well, they're ranked 4 in 1A. They're 7-1, and offensively, they have receivers that go get the ball. Their quarterback really is fast and can move around and keeps his eyes, which you would know, keeps his eyes downfield. And a lot of times when you're fast, sometimes you do pull it down and go too early, but he doesn't do that. He just keeps moving. And our objective is, we're a running football team. We're kind of a power team. And I've watched every game they played this year, and we've kind of developed a game plan defensively. We're hoping that, we can make that work and just slow them down enough. And then offensively, we just want to control the ball. I mean, I know when they played Chiefland, they lost to Chiefland 14-10. Chiefland had a 20-play drive to start the game and used about 7 minutes off the clock. And I'm hoping that we can sustain those drives and we have some really good running backs. And I'm hoping that we can sustain drives. And that's the biggest thing is, like in a basketball game, if someone were a really up and down team, you'd want to slow them down. And that's kind of the way we got to get the game to the fourth quarter and hopefully have an opportunity to at least compete and win the game.
So what's the atmosphere like in the big town of Bronson right now with y'all having a special type season?
It's really cool. Our county commissioner, our school board people, they fed our kids steak dinner last Thursday before the game, and in honor of being in a playoff game after 18 years or 19 seasons. And I had some of my kids say, "I've never had a steak like that." I mean, our kids are poor, and some of our kids, they don't have those things that a lot of us take for granted. And they had the ability to have a steak, and they enjoyed it. And our community is really behind us. We're expecting a really large crowd on Friday night. The hurricane thing was kind of playing some things, and we're going to be out of school tomorrow, will be the day. It's kind of a walkthrough day. And we can make that walkthrough up, and we're practicing today. We're out of school today, Veterans Day. We're practicing from 3 to 6.
All right. And, Coach, before we let you go, to tell them that your daughter's a professional singer. Is she in some kind of production? What is it? A musical in Orlando?
She is. My daughter. I think we laughed about this the other morning when you and I were talking. I am Coach Holly during the school day and anytime I'm in Bronson or any of my former players. But I am really Carson's dad. My kid is Carson Holly. She's 12. She is in a professional production of Matilda. Matter of fact, they already gone down for the day because she has about 8 hours of rehearsal. She's in school. Still, she's gone virtual this 9 weeks because of that and some other, everything else out there. And but she sings in 5 languages.
Wow.
6th grader. She has a video that has 55 million views on social media from Disney. She's a Latin recording artist. She has multiple songs out on every platform. She's with IBA Music out of Orlando. She has management team in Los Angeles, and she has she's with Brevard Talent, which is the elite talent group in the Southeast. And she started off in first grade. She was in La Boheme at UF and sang 3.5 hours in Italian. She sings in Italian, German, French, Spanish, and English.
Wow, that's impressive.
And she's, I don't know, she's a gift. I have a 34-year-old child, and she's 12, and I've been coaching 36 years, and she's something else. But Carson Holland, and
that's awesome.
Anybody check her out? But my wife is really the backbone of that, and really helps our family. And my wife is executive with a company here in town, but she somehow juggles it all during football.
Well, that's awesome stuff, Coach. We appreciate you joining Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. We wish Bronson a lot of luck. I know the town is buzzing, and we'll see how you guys do against Wildwood, but we appreciate you joining the program.
Yes. And, I just, again, our kids and our community and everybody that's involved with our program really supports it, right on down to our booster club and everything else. Just the things that they do for our kids, is kind of unparalleled. Thank you for having me, Shane.
Yes, sir. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining Baker's Sporting Goods High School Roundup here on Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We're now joined by Newberry Panther head volleyball coach Hank Roan. Good morning, Hank. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Shane. Thanks for having us on.
All right, so y'all defeated Bell. You're now going to head and play for the state title against Sneeds, which y'all lost to them last year in the state title game. They've won 7 in a row. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. They beat us last year in 4. We were one of the first teams to even take a set from them in the state championship. Then we actually played them early in the year, and we went to 5 with them at Newberry. So we kind of saw them. And then this year we got to see them in Jacksonville, and they were minus their best player. So but we beat them 25-20, 25-15, and the coach kind of is using that as motivation. She put, how you put stuff in the locker room, in the office. They put our score there, and she kind of reminds them about how they lost to Newberry, and she's kind of using that for motivation. So we look forward to a big battle come Friday.
Well, I know you got some of your senior girls. You got a lot of seniors on your team that played in this game last year. You want to introduce some of them?
Yeah, Sarah Miller, our setter, she's in here with me. And you got Grace Ulrich, a middle, Katie Oxford outside, and Paige Dingus plays outside in one middle rotation for us.
Good deal. Well, whichever one wants to speak, I'd like to know what their mindset is going into this state championship game in back-to-back years, having lost last year. What's the mindset playing Sneeds again this year?
I think we just have to give it our all and not let anything get us down. We have to go in there with the mindset that we are good and that we have a good chance of winning this game, and that we just need to do everything in our power to go out there and just show them what we have.
Yeah, we know we have an opportunity, so we want to make the most of it.
Absolutely. Now, Hank, has Newberry ever won the state championship in volleyball?
No, they never have. In fact, we just learned this today. Coach Roundtree came in and talked to us before we got out of practice this morning. And he said that they have a cross country and a track, some individual type stuff, but we have the opportunity to be the first team sport. No football, no basketball, baseball, volleyball. So this is a huge opportunity, and that's what we're looking at as. It's an opportunity for us. It's not an obstacle. We feel like Sneeds has obstacles to go against when they battle Newberry.
No doubt. Well, I was fortunate enough to win a state championship in high school football back in the state of Mississippi. It'll be something you'll remember the rest of your lives. So I want to wish you girls a lot of luck, and hopefully y'all bring back the title to Newberry.
Thank you. We will try.
All right. Well, Hank, we appreciate y'all taking the time to join the program on the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Good luck to the Lady Panthers, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Bye.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware for all your promotional needs, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button, or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Celebration Point's where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Skechers, Sushi Hana, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. I want to thank Brent Beaird for joining us talking college football today. Also want to thank all the high school coaches that are kicking off playoffs as we sell Newberry's playing for the state championship. Appreciate them joining the Baker Sporting Goods High School Roundup. Don't forget tomorrow's program, we got the Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. We got the Peachland Dentistry, JC, and the QB weekend picks. You'll want to tune in for that. And then also, you'll want to, we got Clint Sterner, former Arkansas quarterback, does a lot of radio for the Hogs. He will give us his thoughts on Arkansas. Rick has a Facebook Live comment here brought to you by Meldon Law, the only law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Rick says, I am wondering how much of the show is pre-recorded and whether Shane is actually out of bed at this hour. Well, we do pre-record a couple of the high school segments because they have coaches have issues with classes. A lot of them had yesterday off with Veterans Day. I'm out of bed early every day, Rick. So I know you're sitting eating your Krispy Kreme donuts and drinking your coffee, but I'm out of bed at 6:30 every day. Masters is in a weather delay. I've been watching here Amen Corner, and it is pouring. Amen Corner is underwater. I don't know if they're going to be able to get any play in today. We do know they have great drainage in Augusta, so hopefully. I wanted to hunker down today and watch golf all day. That was my plan with the weather coming through, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Anyway, make sure you tune in tomorrow, folks. Like I said, Clint Sterner, we're talking Arkansas Razorbacks, and we'll have our Peachland Dentistry weekend picks. So today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Stay safe, folks. Stay dry. We'll see you tomorrow.